Hi, my name is Sam Dillon and I'm from San Jose, California, and this video is homework number 1 for Loudon Stern's Intro to Music Production class from Berklee School of Music through Coursera. I'm going to talk today about recording an electric guitar with direct input into your DAW. We'll talk about why you might want to do this. We'll go over the basic connections, setting the levels, and monitoring what you're playing, and then we'll wrap it up with a little review. First off, why might you want to do this rather than just miking up your amplifier or whatever it is? In my case, I don't know about the rest of you, but I've got 3 kids and a wife and a real job, so most of my time spent in my little studio here is late in the evening, and I can't make a lot of noise, so I end up doing a lot of direct input and monitoring on headphones or very, very quietly through my monitoring system. Another reason you might want to do it is it gives you a very clean signal with no outside interference. If the kids are playing loud or there's a television on in the next room or something like that, I'm not going to pick up all that noise. And finally, it also gives you a very clean signal to work with in your DAW later on. You can muddy it up as much as you like, but you can always get back to a very clean signal to start with if you want to. Okay? And given all that, let's go ahead and take a look at the audio interface and get started here. Let me in advance apologize for the quality of the video. I'm not really set up for video, and so I'm just using the built-in camera on my tablet here. And here we go. Okay, here we're looking at the back of the audio interface that we're going to be using today. Right here you can see we've got the USB in. I've left this plugged in, but it's pretty obvious that goes to the computer. Right now my DAW is already up and running, and it gets kind of annoyed if you disconnect the audio interface in the middle of a session, so we won't worry about demoing that particular connection. We have a couple of MIDI ins and outs here if you have an external synthesizer, a control surface, or something like that you might want to use. And I've got a couple of line outputs, and that's the first thing we're going to connect up. This is your standard TS style cable, and it goes to my audio monitoring system. So let's go ahead and plug these guys in here. And then the other thing that might be of interest here is the switch here to turn on and off the 48-volt phantom power for a microphone, if we were to be using one, which we're not today, so we'll leave that turned off. Okay. Okay. First order of business here is the standard 1/4-inch TS cable into the guitar. I think this part's pretty obvious to everybody. There we go. Okay, this is the front of the audio interface we'll be using today, and as you can see, we've got this nice bright LED on here letting us know that we've got a solid connection to the computer and the DAW. This one uses these combination connectors that'll do both XLR and unbalanced TS style cables, whichever one you need to use. Today we're going to be using a TS style cable from the guitar, and note that on this one only the second input supports that high Z input, and you have to engage this button here in order to get it into that mode. Okay, and that button's already pushed in because it always is for me. Plug that guy in, and first thing we're going to do is turn up the guitar, which is way over here, so I'm not going to show you that, but trust me, I just turned it from 0 all the way up so I can get some level. Then the next thing I'm going to do is crank up the output level of this device. There we go. And this knob here gives us a selection of back and forth between the direct monitoring of the input or monitoring what's coming back from the DAW. So right now we'll keep it all the way over on direct input so we can see what we're getting, and I will now turn up the volume on my monitoring system a little bit. There we go, which you can't see also because it's way over to the left there. But now if I start to bring up the input gain on this guy, we should be plenty safe there. And I don't know if you can really hear that on the microphone because it's not very loud, but there you have it. You've got sound coming out of the guitar. And then what we're going to want to do, now let me cut back this output just for now so we won't hear it, but what we want to do is set this gain here. See, now we're getting, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but we're getting a little bit of peaking there on the thing, and that is no good. And I happen to know that because I know this interface because I've been using it. So we'll crank it back to about here. Still a little peak in there. I'm hitting the guitar fairly hard. Looks like we're in fairly good shape. And then I always like to take it just one hair less in case I get really carried away while I'm playing. And I think we're set there. And one other thing we might just mention right here, if you did want to listen with headphones as opposed to an external set of speakers or whatever, you just plug these guys in right here, and of course you've got a separate volume control to control how loud you want to hear yourself in the headphones. Okay, well, that was basically it. As you can see, it's pretty easy. A few cables to connect and some levels to set, and you're pretty much ready to go. Again, why do you want to do this? In my case, and I think a lot of people's cases, it gets rid of a lot of external noise and interference, and also keeps you from disturbing other people if you're working off hours and things like that. We went over the basic connections. Your standard TS cable from the guitar to the audio interface. You've got a USB connection from the audio interface to the computer, and that also comes back from the computer to the, it's a two-way interface, so it's back to the computer from the DAW, and then a connection from the audio interface out to my monitoring system. And that's really about all there is to it. It's fairly straightforward. When you're gonna set your levels, connect up and set your levels, you want to turn everything all the way down first, and then I always start at the outer edge of the system, that being the guitar, and crank it all the way up, so I know that even if I get carried away, I won't overload and distort, because once you distort, you're toast. You can't fix it. So set the guitar to the max so you'll know you're as loud as you're ever going to get, and then set your input level on your audio interface. You're going to want to set your input level on your DAW, but I think we're going to talk about DAWs this coming week, so I won't go into that right now. And then back out of the DAW or via direct monitoring. You need to be able to hear what you're doing. You can do that via headphones or a monitoring system. And I think that's about it for this week. Probably see you next week.